We're celebrating ExxonMobil's 110th year anniversary in Baton Rouge. ExxonMobil has been here over 110 years, all the way back to April 13th, 1909. We've been a force in Baton Rouge for these 110 years. We're the largest employer in the state. We pay over $100 million a year in taxes. So it's been great, a great partnership with Baton Rouge and the community for all those years, and we hope it goes on for the next century. We're also here to talk about and celebrate the fact that we have a new investment of over $500 million in a new polypropylene plant at my facility, the Baton Rouge Polyolefins plant. We make plastics for things like impact copolymer that goes into car parts, recyclable plastics, and food packaging. So this project will produce over 450,000 tons of polypropylene plastics. We will have 45 new permanent employee jobs, 20 contractor jobs, and 600 construction jobs up through the 2021 timeframe when we're going to start up. I'm Stephen Hamilton, manager of the Baton Rouge Polyolefins plant, and on behalf of the more than 6,000 employees and contractors, we welcome you and thank you for joining us. Today we have much to celebrate. On April 13th, 2019, ExxonMobil marked their 110th year anniversary in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What began as a small refinery more than a century ago is now a major integrated petrochemical and refining complex, fueling our economy, providing local jobs, and supporting our community. But there is more reason to celebrate. That's because we are experiencing a time of generational investment opportunity. Unlike anything we've experienced in more than a decade, and more than I've seen in my 33 years with ExxonMobil. As you've likely heard, ExxonMobil is investing more than $20 billion in Gulf Coast projects. Thanks to low-cost domestic feed supplies and worldwide demand, our Gulf Coast states are positioned for growth. One of the most significant wins in Louisiana was at my facility, the Polyolefins plant. In March, we announced the decision to invest more than $500 million in a new polypropylene line, doubling our site's capacity and helping to supply new sustainable plastic products around the globe. So today I'd like to share exactly how this project will help support our community and the people of Baton Rouge. First, we are committed to hiring locally. Ultimately, 45 new permanent employees, 20 contractors, and 600 construction jobs will support $116 million in local payroll through these opportunities. As an update of where we are today, about 50 local workers are already deployed at the site, preparing the area for construction. We've also started the hiring process for the 45 permanent ExxonMobil employees, including mechanical, lab technicians, and process operations area. We're bringing them in now to have them ready to work the plant when we start up in 2021. In fact, today, 7 lab techs started their first day with ExxonMobil early this morning. As soon as this year, Baton Rouge should see an increase in sales tax collections from construction and initial purchases to help support city finances. In total, we anticipate about $30 million in sales tax collections from this project alone. Whenever possible, our project team is working to support local suppliers like Turner Industries, Jacobs, and SGS. As of April, the project has engaged 14 local suppliers and vendors representing nearly $128 million in expenditures. We'll continue to be purposeful in selecting local companies as we proceed in our construction progress. As construction proceeds, we're also considering how to best recycle our resources. For example, with the help of Turner Industries, we were able to donate over 1,000 cubic yards of mulch to Breck Parts and 300 yards to Baton Rouge Green, representing more than $100,000 to help support our parks and green spaces. We're also investing $500,000 to provide new turn lanes on Highway 61 to ensure a safer entrance to our facility. To help local businesses better connect with work opportunities, we plan to roll out a GoLocal.com website this month. At this website, you'll be able to register and search for ExxonMobil Baton Rouge area business opportunities and register your company's interest. But our commitment to creating direct community benefit for this project will go even further, with plans to bring more benefits to North Baton Rouge residents and businesses. We are working with several local partners to develop a small business resource initiative in North Baton Rouge, which we plan to announce next month. The growth of the North Baton Rouge Industrial Training Initiative has grown from 45 students to more than 250 students a year and will help support our workforce for this project and other area opportunities. This free training program at the Baton Rouge Community College is sponsored by ExxonMobil in partnership with our major contractors. With this training, more North Baton Rouge residents will be ready to enter the industrial workforce. Also through this project, we will provide support for emerging North Baton Rouge businesses that need the capacity to compete for larger contracts. But the innovative collaboration doesn't stop there. New project workers will be trained using virtual reality technology designed by local IT firms and in partnership with the LED's Fast Start program. Our first module will focus on crane operations training, and our hope is that we can strengthen collaboration between the petrochemical industry and Louisiana's growing IT sector. Together, we can make our workers safer and more prepared to operate in our increasingly technical plant facilities. And if you're around this evening, inside there is a virtual reality demonstration that you'll be able to participate in. Right now, ExxonMobil is considering further investment opportunities in Baton Rouge. However, Louisiana must be positioned to compete for these projects. Please help us win more investment here. Together, we should support fair and predictable tax programs, work on transportation infrastructure progress, and be an advocate for an improved legal climate in Louisiana. Together, our businesses, our community leaders, and our elected officials must work together so we can achieve another century of growth for Baton Rouge and for Louisiana. Thank you, and with that, I'd like to introduce U.S. Congressman Garrett Graves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, great to be here this afternoon. I want to go through some of the great cities in Louisiana. You have towns like Faraday, like Grambling, like New Roads, these great gems in Louisiana. You even have the towns like Marksville. Now, why do I bring those up? I want to put things in perspective for just a minute. If Exxon's Baton Rouge operations were located in any one of those towns, and Exxon decided they were going to close up shop, there would not be a single citizen, not a single man, woman, or child in any one of those cities that would have a job. The entire population of Faraday, of New Roads, of Marksville, completely without jobs. It really is amazing the footprint that y'all have here in Baton Rouge, what it means, not just to the people that work there, but when you actually factor out the number of family members, the people that are directly and indirectly affected. It's like the entire city of Houma, the entire city of New Iberia affected by the operations that Exxon has here. And this new investment of nearly $500 million on top of all the extraordinary work, putting hundreds of contractors and dozens of permanent jobs here, giving additional employment opportunities for folks right here in this region, and of course luring new friends and neighbors to our community as well. But it's not just about that, and it's not just about Exxon's operations to be able to fuel this nation's economy, to be able to power houses and power cars all over America. But what this new investment does is this new investment actually takes it a step further. The technology that they're producing here with this new investment, helping to make cars safer for when we're driving, with our families, stronger materials, helping to make cars lighter. And I'm not sure if you know this, but that means people buy less gas. That may not be good for you. But helping to make cars lighter, helping to save fuel, helping to improve our environment. These are great investments, and I think 100% recyclable as well. And so I appreciate y'all coming back and investing even more in our city, in our hometown, to have that reach grow even more. $21 million in sales taxes annually, $30 million in property taxes. I think I just got those backwards, but tens of millions of dollars in additional tax revenue. So we can invest more, Madam Mayor, in our road projects that are so important to you and our community. That we can invest more in our parks and our schools and many of the other important investments that we have here in our region. So I want to thank you all very much. Great being here. Looking forward to growing the partnership with Exxon. And I want to introduce my mayor, your mayor, our mayor, SHARON Weston Broome.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman Graves. It is indeed a momentous day for the city of Baton Rouge, 110 years in Baton Rouge. Let's give our friends and partners at Exxon a round of applause. And so 110 years, that's a long time. But 110 years later, Exxon continues to invest in our city and in our state. With today's announcement of the polypropylene project, Exxon has made another sizable investment and commitment to Baton Rouge. You know, one of the benefits of this project that you heard alluded to earlier are the unique community wraparound services that accompany this expansion, especially capacity building programs aimed at supporting small and diverse businesses throughout our community. Through the Small Business Investment Initiative, ExxonMobil is developing a state-of-the-art co-working space focused on economic and workforce development in North Baton Rouge. I look forward to working with our partners, including the Baton Rouge North Economic Development District, Southern University, LED, BRAC, Metromorphosis, 100 Black Men, as we kick off and have further conversations about the Small Business Investment Initiative. Thank you so much, Exxon, for that commitment. Also, through this expansion, Exxon will expand its North Baton Rouge Industrial Training Initiative from 45 students to more than 250 students a year to support its workforce. These workers will be trained using virtual reality technology that we'll all have an opportunity to look at with local IT firms in partnership with the LED Fast Start program. You know, earlier this year, many of you all attended a press conference that I convened where we commended Exxon for their exemplary work as a company and as a community partner, as a job creator. And so today's announcement really reaffirms their commitment to the city and to its people. And so we greatly appreciate the confidence that Exxon has placed in the future of Baton Rouge. We look forward to breaking ground on this expansion later this year. Now I'd like to bring up Brad Lambert with LED. Brad?
Thank you very much, Mayor President. On behalf of LED Secretary Don Pearson, who's in Washington, D.C. today, thanks for allowing LED a few minutes to say a few things here this afternoon. As the Mayor said, I'm Brad Lambert. I'm the Deputy Secretary at LED, and I had the privilege to do that since the beginning of 2017. It's not often that we can get together and celebrate 110 years of anything. Yet here we are today with the honor and the opportunity to congratulate ExxonMobil and its legacy companies on 110 years of phenomenal production and service in Louisiana's capital city of Baton Rouge. And as Steve mentioned, we're almost here to the day, April 13th, 1909, when a group of Standard Oil of Louisiana employees, they got together and filed a charter to build the very first company facility that began processing crude a mere 7 months later in November of 1909. And along the way, it's a story of a remarkable partnership between a company and the city of Baton Rouge and the state of Louisiana. And that history, I think, is captivating and it's worth remembering. And thankfully, it's displayed on a lot of the banners over there, just the lifelong history of fueling 2 world wars, females working in jobs at the refinery, leading to our first refinery manager in Gloria Moncada. And thank you, Gloria, for your leadership and everything you do for both the company and the city and our state. It's just fascinating to have that kind of history in our community. And it's something we should be very proud of, and we should cherish that and be grateful for it. You know, one of the most important jobs that we at LED that we have is to help our economic driver companies like ExxonMobil thrive. And part of the way we do that is we work with companies on workforce development training. Really, we hear so much wherever we go throughout the state and throughout the country, everyone is focused on having that workforce, having those employees, and making sure that those employees are trained. And yes, it's our LED Fast Start team that works with expanding Louisiana companies to provide these cutting-edge tools for success. You know, Fast Start has gone from PDAs to tablets, but they've taken a lot of this training online where it's available 24/7 for employees when they can do it. And that's such a key thing. And we hope this partnership with ExxonMobil is going to raise that workforce training bar even higher. And it's in the room there, but we'll be debuting this immersive virtual reality training. And I'm very glad that our Fast Start leader, Paul Helton, is here today, as well as a couple of our other LED Fast Start. And they can tell you, I'm sure like anybody else can, it's really pretty cool to learn with a high-tech headset on. But the other thing that happens is those trainees, they experience that training a little bit more deeply, and they remember that training probably a little bit better. And for ExxonMobil, that's a very critical thing. New employees, they need to know how to do things correctly and safely for working in today's contemporary industrial landscape. So this virtual reality training, it can simulate the risk, the challenges, and the solutions for working in that kind of environment. But it does not put trainees in any kind of harm's way. And I think important for the company, they don't have to shut down any units to conduct this training. As Steve alluded to, crane operators, fire safety folks, lifting operations, other essential tasks, those are going to be the future employees of ExxonMobil that's going to benefit from this advanced training. And just as ExxonMobil has built community capacity in our schools, in our charities, in our economy for the past 110 years, they're extending this reach into the community again, and it was alluded. It's local firms like 3D Media, Pixel Dash Studios, King Crow Studios that are all at Louisiana Technology Park that are going to partner with both LED Fast Start and ExxonMobil in developing these training modules. And it gets even better. ExxonMobil is going to launch a partnership with the Baton Rouge Community College. They're going to support at BRCC a virtual reality training lab. So those students or those adults who are looking back to go get trained at BRCC in process technology, in operations, they can experience the exact same thing that ExxonMobil trainees and employees experience. So again, let's remember, Fortune 500 firms like ExxonMobil, they thrive through innovation. Communities like East Baton Rouge Parish, we thrive by retaining these types of companies and helping them flourish. So at LED, we are thrilled to play this kind of role to sync up companies like ExxonMobil, sync up companies that are at our tech park, to help the individuals be prepared for the best jobs of tomorrow. And it's by doing all of those things that we can ensure that ExxonMobil continues to thrive here, Baton Rouge continues to thrive, and we can continue building upon the success of the last 110 years. Again, it's a privilege to be here. Congratulations, happy birthday, happy anniversary to ExxonMobil, and we'll call on Adam Knapp from Baton Rouge Area Chamber to finish things up for us here.
Thank you so much, Brad. My name is Adam Knapp. I'm the president and CEO of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. The mayor a moment ago alluded to an event that took place a couple of months ago that was one of the most special events of the year from my perspective. The mayor and BRAC and many others decided to host a celebration, a press event, to celebrate ExxonMobil and the importance of ExxonMobil to our community. And on the dais that day was someone named Donna Siraj. Donna is the proud leader of Community Coffee. Many in Baton Rouge know her and know her family well and know the company very well. The history of Community Coffee is one that is also celebrating an anniversary this year of 100 years in business. And it is not a small thing that these two things are connected. The story that Donna shared that day was that that Community Coffee began in a small grocery store at the doors of Standard Oil 100 years ago. In the back of that store was a small community or coffee shop in the back of that store for the workers at Standard Oil. That became what is now today a nationwide business selling the world's best coffee, as we think we can all agree. What was touching about that story for me and so impactful is it encapsulated what we talk about all the time, which is the importance of a company like ExxonMobil is across the business community and across the economy, across the citizens of our community and across our great state, that every entrepreneur in Baton Rouge over the last century can probably trace in some way a story back to the fact that the economic vibrancy of Baton Rouge comes back to a strong core manufacturing sector that drives Baton Rouge forward. And so we have the opportunity to build, as you've heard here a moment ago, a technology sector in Baton Rouge. We have that opportunity because of the strong presence of a core manufacturing sector. We have the ability to have industrial construction services companies that are some of the best in the world, and engineering design firms, some of the best in the world, because of that decision 110 years ago to open Standard Oil's refinery here in Baton Rouge that has led to over a century of entrepreneurship and innovation across this state. That event that day that the mayor alluded to was also touching because it took place within about 48 hours. And what you don't hear is that we sent out the call and said, please come together. A community partner of ours is asking us to celebrate and recognize just how important they are to our community. And it happened in 48 hours that over 100 folks showed up and said, I want to share in the story of how important Exxon is to Baton Rouge. And across the community, we actually sent it out through our Small Business and Entrepreneurship Council, and so many responded and said, I'll put aside what I'm doing today in important things that are happening in my small business because it is so important to stand alongside Exxon and demonstrate to its corporate leadership that we want Exxon in Baton Rouge. We want Exxon in Baton Rouge for another century to come, making investments here that'll impact another generation of citizens, of entrepreneurs and innovators in our community. So today we are here to celebrate 110 years of manufacturing as a core industry in our community. We're here to celebrate the neighborhood vibrancy that have changed. If you look across the design of landscape of Baton Rouge's neighborhoods, you can see the moment when Exxon came. You can see the neighborhoods that sprung up because of the presence of Exxon building the economy of Baton Rouge. Neighborhoods like the Garden District, like Mid-City, like all of Florida Boulevard, like North Baton Rouge sprung up around the development of a major manufacturing presence in Baton Rouge. And we're here to celebrate that generational legacy that has created in our community. Exxon's decision to invest another $500+ million that has occurred this year is because we stood up as a community and said we want to create the investment environment for more jobs at a moment when we need to be standing up and doing so, celebrating this company for our community and asking them to do it again and again and again, make more manufacturing investments in Baton Rouge and make sure that Baton Rouge continues to be a place where manufacturing has a strong presence, not just here, but across the state of Louisiana. Today we also celebrate 110 years years of the women and men of ExxonMobil who have made it a safe place to work, who have made it a safe place to do business, and who have served their community, building across Baton Rouge an incredibly vibrant middle class for black and white alike in our community to live here in harmony and have a city that is going to thrive around the presence of this company in our community. We look forward to the next 50 years, to the next 100 years in our community. BRAC has been proud to be there for almost that entire century alongside ExxonMobil, serving and partnering with the company in community development projects and neighborhood revitalization projects, and as you heard, in celebrating the development of additional small businesses across our community. And we are happy to partner with the company. On behalf of our board of directors, congratulations to everybody with ExxonMobil. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, what an exciting day it has been today. From the Diversity and Energy event over in the Rotunda of the Capitol, to the Partners in Diversity interactive demonstrations also in the Rotunda of the Capitol, to our legislative reception, and also a celebration of 110 years of ExxonMobil in the Baton Rouge area. That is incredible. April 13th marked our 110-year anniversary. It's not just 110 years of operations, it's also 110 years of deeply rooted partnerships in the Baton Rouge area. And those partnerships we are all very proud of and look forward to developing many more. I invite you all to help us celebrate in that 110-year anniversary and take a walk through history with us in our history-themed reception. You can see there's a timeline that's organized by decades on display. So I invite all of you to take a walk through history and view that timeline. I also invite you to check out our virtual reality demos, and that's just an example of a unique community partnership or unique community wraparound associated with our new project that Steve Hamilton mentioned to you earlier.
I was around when we did the 100th anniversary over in the River Center in Baton Rouge, so it was a very exciting time. Major milestones like this. I've been with the company for 33 years, so I feel like I've been here, part of this history, for about a third of the time we've been in existence. So it's a fantastic event, and I look forward to getting out there and enjoying it.
Today was a pretty awesome day in that we talked about how Exxon's been here for 100, in fact over 110 years. Talked about how they've really just sort of been intertwined within the Baton Rouge community, and talked about the huge presence that they have here today, talked about the recent investment that they announced, and importantly, the associated investments they're making now in job training and workforce, small business resource center, just ensuring that we have another 110 years of great partnership and relationship between Exxon and the Baton Rouge area.
I'm glad to be a part of the 110th anniversary of ExxonMobil being here in the city of Baton Rouge. Certainly we're celebrating their longevity here as a corporate partner to our community. ExxonMobil has touched a lot of lives. I mean, a lot of people have been employed there. A lot of families have benefited as the employees there, and certainly they are becoming and have become a part of the fabric of our community here. So I'm glad to be here to celebrate their longevity here. 110 years is a lot of time.
Anytime we can get together and celebrate 110 years, that's a huge accomplishment, and it speaks to the partnership between ExxonMobil, City of Baton Rouge, State of Louisiana, and that's just an incredible thing to recognize and honor, and very glad to be here this evening.
The company is ExxonMobil making a $500+ million investment is an important historic investment for Baton Rouge, like what we saw 110 years ago, and we're here to celebrate the 110th anniversary, as well as this great new announcement that they're going to be expanding operations in Baton Rouge at the Polyolefins plant.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
Well, you can certainly go to our website, exxonmobil.com, and you should be able to get most of your questions answered there.